All. First of all, I have to tell you how pleased I am to be back in Huntington. I don't get here very often. I seem to be awfully busy running 3 railroads. And I'm in New York, or I'm in Washington, or I'm out in California. But I'm always happy to come back for a brief visit. And when I do, I'm always impressed by the progress that has been made since I was last here. Now, I've been cautioned not to talk very long, and that's going to be something of a struggle for me, because I love to talk. But I'll do my best. And I think maybe some of you out there might be interested in knowing how this town came to be. It has long been the dream of people to connect the James River in eastern Virginia with the Ohio River. At first, the thought had been to do it with a series of canals. When that didn't prove feasible, a road of sorts, if you can call the James River and Kanawha Turnpike a road, was built. With the advent of railroads, it was a perfect spot to build one, and the Chesapeake and Ohio made a bold start. But the Civil War came along. Marauding troops, Union and Confederate alike, tore up the tracks, dynamited the locomotives, burned the rail cars. The result was, by war's end, the C&O was more or less bankrupt. Now, I was in my office in New York City, and I was called on by a delegation of stockholders in the C&O, and they implored me to provide the necessary capital to rebuild and expand the railroad. Now, I initially resisted that idea, but the more I thought about it, the more I thought, yeah, maybe I should do this, because I had an idea. Now, I knew that if the C&O was to ever make a profit, if it was ever going to survive very long, that the tracks had to be laid across what was then the new state of West Virginia as quickly as possible. And so with some other railroad officials, we set out on a horseback trip across the state to explore the proposed right-of-way and pick out a site for the western terminus. And ultimately, we came to the Ohio River in a spot just a little upstream from where we're gathered here tonight. And I looked around and I said, this is the perfect spot. And then I told my fellow excursionists, what we're going to do here, gentlemen, is we're going to build an entirely new town. A town from the ground up. A town that we decided should be called Huntington. Isn't that a great name for a town?
Woo!
I think it is, but then I'm a little prejudiced. Well, I promise not to go on too long, and I may have already broken that promise. I will conclude simply by saying Huntington has a remarkable past, an even more remarkable present, and an incredibly more remarkable future. The best is yet to be.